Good afternoon and welcome to the third edition of the Health Show here on Talk Hot Media. I am your host, Kumbaso. Periods or menstrual cycle is a natural process that most women go through in their lives. In today's program, we intend to educate ourselves about how significant it is for a girl child from the age of puberty to understand how best to take care of yourself when that time of the month comes.
A lot of people are scared of coming to the hospital.
Lee Hunt once said that the groundwork of all happiness is good health. Health is an important part of our livelihood. With good health, man is capable of doing anything. I am Kumbaso. Please join me on Talk Hot Media to set light on our health problems and find solutions to them. This show will explore our health problems in our society and also presenting specialists who have wide knowledge about health to help and direct you through the course of this show. So you can afford to miss this educative show because your health should be your utmost priority. Kindly like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and please do not forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you.
With me here today is Madam Salimata, BSc registered nurse, health activist, health ambassador for Women Supporting Women organization. Thank you, Madam Salimata, for being with us here today on the Health Show.
Thank you so much, Kumba, for having me. Sorry.
Let's briefly talk about the female reproductive system.
Okay. So the female reproductive system consists of the female internal and external sex organs.
Okay.
So the female reproductive system consists of female internal and external sex organs, and these sex organs are designed for various functions.
Okay.
The functions they are designed for are for puberty, for pregnancy,
okay,
for menstrual cycle, okay, for childbirth and breastfeeding, and sexual intercourse as well.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay.
And female reproductive organs consist of, like I said earlier on, external and internal organs, sex organs. And these external and internal organs can be divided into various parts.
Okay.
So I will run through the parts. The internal organs consist of the cervix, the fallopian tube, the vulva, the vagina, and then the external one, we have the clitoris, the labia minora, the labia majora, the mum pubis, and then the Bartholin gland. The Bartholin gland is like a secretion at the external part of the reproductive internal.
So I'm very sure that this menstruation cycle goes internally, like it happens internally.
Internally, exactly.
So how does this normal menstruation cycle works like?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. So as a sexually developed woman, or a sexually developed girl, that is after puberty. Mm-hmm. So now I'm taking us through the after puberty because that's when menstruation starts from. Mm-hmm. And now for menstruation starts for puberty, first menstruation, let's say from 9-year-old.
Okay.
So as a sexually matured woman, we have eggs in our ovaries, and these eggs are thousands, millions of these eggs. Okay. So these eggs, they kind of travel one after the other through the fallopian tube and enter through the uterus. Okay. So, and like I said earlier on, they are matured eggs. Mm-hmm. So that means if anybody or if any girl or any woman have a sexual intercourse with any man at that period, they could get pregnant. Okay. Because that period is still like they are traveling in. The eggs are traveling one by one through the fallopian tube to the uterus. So they are matured, they are fertilized. Any sperm from any man through that process, they can get pregnant. Okay. So after they travel one by one through the fallopian tube to the uterus, every month, the lining of the uterus, which is called the endometrium, it's built up blood vessels, like it swells up. It's ready for something to come out of it. So every month, these blood vessels, this endometrium, it swells up with blood vessels, ready to come out as a blood. So that period, these eggs are still traveling into the cervix. Okay. So if at that period, there's no sexual intercourse with any man, the endometrium sheds out its lining. And when it sheds out its lining, like I said, it's built up of blood vessels. So when it sheds out its lining, the blood vessels form into menstrual period. Okay. But then, if at that period, a woman have a sexual intercourse with any man, there will not be shedding. That means the egg that is being matured, that's come in contact with a man, will get fertilized and turn into pregnancy.
Okay.
But if pregnancy didn't occur at that period, the endometrium will shed out the blood and it come out through a normal period, and it runs through like that every cycle.
Okay.
Yes.
So, like how you said, it runs through like that in every cycle.
Exactly.
So what are some of the normal signs that you may see if you are going through this menstrual pain?
It is normal.
Okay.
And it is common for every girl child or every woman to go through some discomfort prior to their period. And this discomfort is known as premenstrual syndrome. We call it PMS, premenstrual syndrome. So this premenstrual syndrome kind of, it's a feeling, it's a symptom that tells you, oh, my period is coming.
Okay.
It's a sign that, oh, my period is coming and all that. And these signs helps you as a woman to know, to get prepared. Or in case you are traveling, in case you are going out and you're like, okay, I think today I'm feeling cramps. You can put an extra pad inside the bag. Okay. So these symptoms kind of help you prepare yourself that, okay, my period is coming. And these signs and symptoms, it varies from one woman to another.
Okay.
The symptoms I will have, you may not have the symptoms. And then these symptoms, it differs, just like I said. And these symptoms are breast tenderness, like you feel like your breasts are sore, it's paining, it's kind of soft, and then it's kind of like full and it's painful. We have abdominal cramp, which is one of the most common symptoms every woman have. Like I feel like every woman can say, I always have cramps during my menstrual cycle. Headaches, bloatiness, diarrhea and constipation, headaches, food cravingness. You just see some girls are just craving for ice cream. Sorry, men should watch out for that. So your wife can just be, or your girlfriend can just be craving for a weird food. She's not pregnant. It's just the hormones that is, trying to make her have those kind of cravings. Crankiness, irritability. Some girls are just so cranky. You will not even understand what is wrong with them. Okay. It's not their fault. It's the hormones that is making them feel cranky, irritability. They don't even want to talk. And then feeling of fatigue. You're just tired. Headaches. Some will have backaches as well. Okay. But one of the most common premenstrual syndrome I feel like every woman and girls have is abdominal pain, which is called a cramping. And the reason why cramping occurs is because there's an hormone in our system called prostaglandins. So these prostaglandins, they kind of send a message to the smooth muscles in the uterus. So once they cause the smooth muscles in the uterus to contract. So when this prostaglandin causes the smooth muscle in the uterus to contract, you start feeling this cramp. Okay. And this cramp can differ from one woman to another. It can be dull, it can be sharp, and it can be intense. Some girls go through cramp that will make them even get hospitalized. Exactly. It's not even their fault. And that's because the level of their prostaglandin, it makes their smooth muscles in their uterus contract so much. So
that is what I want to ask you. Like, what level do you think that we should go, like girls should go to the hospital to check when they are feeling this kind of pains?
Yes, thank you so much. There are so many symptoms that you could be having as a girl child or as a woman that it's abnormal, and that will lead you to see a gynecologist or see any doctor to know more about what is going on. Okay. And we have spotting. Spotting is bleeding in between periods. Like you've had your normal period in the month, but you are still seeing blood in between the months. Mm-hmm. You understand what I mean? Let's say today is 5th now, I complete my period. Then next week, I start seeing some spot on my panties, and it's getting too much. Often, you may need to see a gynecologist to know why you are having this spotting in between periods. Okay. Also, using 6 to 8 pads in a day. 6 to 8 soaked pad. I don't mean a pad that is not, because some people are very hygienic. Mm-hmm. They can change their pad 6 to 8 times in a day because of hygiene purpose. Okay. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking of your pad is soaked at each interval, and you are using 6 to 8 pads in a period of 24 hours in a day. That's heavy bleeding. You may need to see a gynecologist or a doctor to know why you are having such heavy bleeding. Also, severe cramping, just like I said. Yeah, we should have crampings. Like cramping is like a normal menstrual symptoms we should have. But there are some crampings that you cannot even stand. You cannot. It's come against your daily activities. crampings that you need to be hospitalized, giving medications, and it's getting too often and often, you may need to see a doctor for that as well. And then when during at the end of our period, we normally a woman pass clots. So, like, let's say it's the third day or fourth day, depending on how many days you used to menstruate. So, passage of huge clots during your period, which should not be more than quarter, you may need to see a doctor, because you should not be passing huge amounts of clots when you are seeing your period. You understand? Then light bleeding. Yes, we said we should not have heavy bleeding, but as well, light bleeding that, okay, you don't even know what is even coming out on your pad and it's your period, you may need to see the doctor to know why you are having light period. Amenorrhea, which is absence of menstrual period. Like, you are not pregnant. It's not as if you have any pregnancy or you take in for pregnancy. And then you realize that for a period of 30, 60, and 90 days, for a period of three months straight, you're not even seeing your period. You're not on contraceptive that is making you not to see your period, because contraceptive can sometimes alter with your period. You're not on contraceptive, and then you're not pregnant. So why are you not seeing your period for a period of 3 months in a straight row? So you may need to see a gynecologist to know why you are seeing absence of menstrual period.
Okay.
Yes.
Another important question I want to ask is, why is it that the period date keeps on changing at times?
Okay, thank you for that question. So our menstrual period or menstrual cycle are dependent of hormones, like I said earlier on.
Yeah.
So these hormones are chemical messengers that send signals to every part of our body that, okay, do this, you do that work, you do this work. So our menstrual cycle and our menstrual period, they depend on hormones. And when they depend on this hormone, sometimes slightly in the month, there's always changes due to hormonal variation. Hormonal variation, what I simply mean is hormonal imbalance. There's a fluctuation in the hormones that regulate our menstrual cycle. There's a fluctuation in the hormones that regulate our menstrual cycle, like estrogen, progesterone, luteinizing stimulating hormone, and follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. So we call it FSH, LH, estrogen, and progesterone. Those are the 4 hormones that regulate our menstrual period. So because there's a fluctuation in those periods, in those hormones rather, because there's a fluctuation in those hormones, we kind of have a change in
the menstrual cycle.
And there are so many reasons why your menstrual cycle keeps changes.
Okay.
Stress can contribute to it. Stress is one major factor that leads to so many things, abrupt things in our body system. So if you are going through a lot of stress, it can alter your menstrual cycle. Hormonal imbalance, like I said, if you are using hormonal contraceptive, like all this family planning and all the likes, it can change your menstrual cycle.
Okay.
Also, certain medications can alter your menstrual cycle, and then there are some certain diseases or conditions that affect we women, like polycystic ovarian syndrome, endometriosis, fibroid, PID, which is pelvic inflammatory disease. All those diseases leads to hormonal imbalance, leads to menstrual changes in our menstrual cycle. And if you are the type that you notice that, oh, your menstrual cycle keeps changing, it's not regular, it's always irregular, you may need to talk to your doctor. Maybe it's some underlying condition, like I mentioned, polycystic ovarian syndrome, it may be fibroid, it may be adenomyosis, it may be endometriosis. It could be all those kind of conditions that could be causing it. And also puberty for young girls in the house. Puberty, when a girl starts puberty, it takes at least 2 to 3 years after you start your puberty. After puberty, when you start your menstrual period, it takes 2 to 3 years after you start your menstruation, after you start your puberty. Okay. It takes 2 to 3 years for your menstrual cycle to get normalized. So if you have any girl child at home, your sister, your cousin, and then she just started a menstrual period, starting puberty, and then our period is not yet regular, it's normal. Okay. Until 2 to 3 years after puberty, and before it gets normalized.
Oh,
exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
So the final question is, I want you to give advice for the young ladies out there, like how best to take care of themselves when they see their menstrual cycle.
Okay, thank you so much. One important thing about women reproductive health is hygiene, and that's what leads to menstrual hygiene management. So menstrual hygiene management is a very, very key, it's a very important part of we women's life. Lack of menstrual hygiene management leads to reproductive tract infections, like vaginal infection, vaginal discharges, and because you're not taking appropriate hygiene during your menstrual period. And there are so many ways you can, take care of yourself during your menstrual, like changing your pads as often as possible. If you're going to school, if you're going to the market, if you're going for a meeting, if you're going for work, and you're going to stay about 6 to 8 hours long, you could take extra pad and go to a bathroom and then change yourself with your pad. At least you should change your pad at least 4 to 6 hours, every 4 to 6 hours. Not like you will go to school in the morning and then until you come back, that's when you change that one pad. No, that's no good. For people that uses tampons, tampons is not like a pad, that one is inside. Some people use tampons and then they don't, because they feel like, oh, it's tampon, it's not pad. Even vaginal infection, like vaginal irritation, vaginal discharge, your vaginal area can start having fishy smell because of this lack of hygiene. And then when you are washing yourself during your menstrual hygiene management, you wash yourself as clean as possible. Get water, get soap, clean yourself, change your pads as often as possible. And then another thing I want to also mention is not everybody, fingers are not equal. Some girls out there, some women out there in the market area or wherever they may be, they don't use sanitary pad because they are not like me and you that we can afford $50 Bella pad to buy in the market. They use cloth rag. They just take a cloth in their house and then just cut the cloth and then use it as pad. That's not hygienic. You may have used the cloth to clean something in the house and then, or you get Ankara wax in the market that you've not even washed and you place it under your vagina. That will definitely cause infection. So I understand that we don't have, or you don't have the money to get a sanitary pad and you want to use a cloth rag. You can use absorbent towel. Now there's so many initiatives now. People use cloth pad. And this cloth pad, they are hygienically produced for people to use. So you can buy those in any of these. We have so many menstrual coaches that do that.
So these cloth pads, like, what is the duration of using them?
Okay, even cloth pad, there's no duration too. It's just the same as using your sanitary pad. But the only difference between cloth pad and cloth menstrual pad and the menstrual pad, normal menstrual pad, is that menstrual pad, you dispose it. But the cloth pad, when you get home, you wash it and they dry it. You understand what I mean?
Like, if I told you you're going to use it for the whole day, like, you could be changing it, like...
Exactly. You can take 2. And then when that one is soaked, you use the other one till you get home. And then when you're using a cloth pad, you have to wash it as much as possible and sun dry it. Another thing we females or girls don't do is we wash our pants and we dry it inside. Okay, yes, there are so many things going on now in the community. The people can steal your pants and use it for so many things. I understand. But when you wash your pants and it's damp, don't wear a damp pants. Wearing a damp pants can, attract microbacteria like fungal, and you start having fungal infections. So if you cannot spread your pants outside to sun dry, take iron when you're about to wear your pants and iron that part you put on your vagina. The heat on the iron will kill any microbacteria on your panties. So that's another alternative.
Thank you very much, Madam Salamat.
I really appreciate it.
Just like what she gave and the advice, menstrual cycle is a normal thing that most women face through in their lives. It's nothing impure or embarrassing about it. So this is exactly the reason why we prioritize it as the topic of discussion. And this is all what we have for you on today's edition. Thanks for watching.
A lot of people are scared of coming to the hospital.
Lee Hunt once said that the groundwork of all happiness is good health. Health is an important part of our livelihood. With good health, man is capable of doing anything. I am Kumbaso. Please join me on Talk Hot Media to set light on our health problems and find solutions to them. This show will explore our health problems in our society and also presenting specialists who have wide knowledge about health to help and direct you through the course of this show. So you can afford to miss this educative show because your health should be your utmost priority. Kindly like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and please do not forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you.